I was just talking for like 3 minutes and it wasn't recording. Good morning, everyone. It's another day. It's Monday. It's Monday after my holiday break from work. My work gave me the week of Valentine's, July 4th off, which was really nice of them. Just supposed to go back to work today. There's a lot happening. It's upcoming, and yeah, I just wanted to bring you with me. I wanted to talk about a few things. I haven't done a sit down in a long time, and I just like have a lot of things I need to say, and that like I want to share with viewers, especially since a lot of us deal with the same issues. And I just want to share some things I've learned recently, because it's been an interesting time. I feel like the past 3 years, from 2020 to 2024, I was like a rock. Like nothing could penetrate me. And since then, but I was not happy. And since then, after my dad died, which sounds crazy, I have not felt like a rock, but I have experienced more happiness. And it's been really difficult because I don't know which one I prefer. Sorry, I had to step away for a second. I swear this vlog is gonna be cheery and it's gonna be some really nice, fun things in it. But yeah, anyways, yeah, so I've been feeling like, not like a rock, but happier. And it's a new feeling that I haven't felt. And I don't know, I can't even say. I'm also off my anxiety med for the first time in like 5 years, my Lexapro. For a number of reasons. I mean, I know I wasn't able to get off of it when my dad was sick. Once my dad passed away, I felt like I could try to get off of it because I really needed to take care of my mental health. But I feel like now I thought things were going to be a little bit more stable. So I was like, let's get off of it. Let's see what happens and let's see. I'm not in therapy right now. I'm waiting for a new therapist, for a few therapists to have openings. So I'm on a waiting list, and I feel like I'm managing. I'm like, okay. I'm okay because of AA and volunteering and my family and like the people I care about who also care about me, and also like doing things to take care of myself. Like I was feeling really, oh, let's just talk about this later. Anyway, I'm gonna finish getting ready, but we're gonna do a bunch of stuff today, and then I'm gonna sit down and talk about some things that have been helping me for mental health, because for the first time I'm feeling things. For the first time in a long time I'm feeling things, and it feels really new to me again, and it feels really hard, but I've done it before and I've done it worse, and I'm okay. And like I have tools this time to like feel fine most of the time. So I'm just gonna share some of those things that I've been doing with you, and also honestly just like being on YouTube and talking to this camera and to you guys is so helpful. I mean, a lot of, you know, I'm trauma dumping on the internet, but I found that a lot of viewers have related and been thankful, I guess, for me being so open about a lot of things that a lot of people go through but don't really talk about. Reading y'all's comments, and I get so many Instagram DMs of y'all who like find my Instagram and send me a little message, and it's wonderful. Shit. I've also been like going on more dates, and girl, that shit's not working out. Well, anyway, what was I saying? Okay, I am gonna drink my magic wine. I am gonna go set up my little workstation. Okay, I'm gonna stop talking, bye.
Oh my god, who is he? Who is he? He is the sweetest boy.
Okay, we are gonna make some lunch. Y'all are gonna make fun of me, but I'm making egg salad. I think that's all I've ever made on this channel, is egg salad. But okay, so I am too lazy to hard-boiled eggs, so I buy pre-hard-boiled eggs. And you can make fun of me in the comments, but people already make fun of me in real life, so that's fine. But I found that if you are also interested in pre-hard-boiled eggs, the ones at Trader Joe's are way better than the ones in Whole Foods. They add some like vinegar or something to the Whole Foods ones, and it's like, ooh. But these taste like regular hard-boiled eggs, cage-free. Look at that. So yeah, Humpty, you are not eating this. Eggs, mayo. It's gonna be really simple. I'm gonna be mashing most of it, so we're gonna be talking. Okay, I got the mayo. So I was talking about earlier about doing things to take care of myself when I'm not feeling well. And this can like apply to neurotypical people, but it can also apply to people with neurodivergence
and people with mental illness. It can apply to anyone, so this can probably apply to you. But I'm going to talk about myself and my experiences because that's all I know, and I don't, you know, this isn't medical advice or anything. But for me, at least, like, as I mentioned in previous videos, especially about ADHD, like, I have lived with brain fog, like really bad brain fog all the time, and severe fatigue, and like lack of focus, just all of these different things. And it makes it hard to function and to behave normally, I guess. Or like how you see neurotypical people behave. And something that I've continued to deal with is, I mean, again, I got diagnosed with ADHD, I got my medication, I've changed a lot of things, but I still have brain fog, and I still deal with fatigue, and I still deal with, you know, all these things. And like, my depression is mostly managed with medication and therapy, but I still, like, I'll get depressed, and I'll, you know, do all these things. And I have to be more cognizant about it because, as I mentioned earlier, like, for about 4 years, I felt like a rock. Like, nothing could penetrate my emotions. Like, I was just, anything could happen to me. And I was in fight or flight, as I talked to my therapist about this, for about 4 years. No, 2 years. I had 2 years of emotional wellness and then 2 years of fight or flight when my dad got sick. But that meant that I, like, wasn't emotional at all. Like I had to get things done. I had to survive. And a lot of people with ADHD learn about these things, or like have to learn how to survive early on, and people with depression, right? Because, or else you'll die. And so that's something that I've always dealt with. And so during that period, like, even when I was little, like, getting through school, getting through college, like, I got a lot of help from my dad. I should not have ended up at the school I did. I shouldn't have. I'm really smart, and I know that, but I was not good at school. But my dad, like, brute forced us all into university through his sheer will. I learned how to survive. Like, I learned which kind of classes to take. I learned which professors were better at giving A's. I learned what type of work I was better at doing, like essays versus, like, 2 big essays a semester versus like a bunch of little assignments. And I learned how to survive. Just like as I did as a child, I learned how to survive a lot of different things. And so a lot of us with ADHD, we learn how to survive, we learn how to try to live as normally as possible, but that means it's emotionally exhausting. It is exhausting to be that, and I want to acknowledge that, because a lot of us don't realize why we're so tired, and I'm sure it's a mix of things, but I'm definitely fatigued also because I have to be on all the time to get to survive, right? Where's my pepper, dude? Oh, it's right here. And I realize that that's something that's really going to be a part of the rest of my life, unfortunately. Just having to be on all the time and, like, being ready to fight all the time. But there's, like, a lot of things that I've discovered have helped me to remain sane during that, because, again, it's exhausting to have to be, like, trying to get ahead of the next thing. And that's, so a lot of the therapy that I've done is CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy. And cognitive behavioral therapy a lot is about preparing preemptively, or so rethinking, finding a way to rethink the things that happen to you, and to, you know, view them in a way that's easier to live with, I guess. And so I really love CBT. CBT really helped me. Like, for example, I remember, like, when I was in college, I remember dropping a coffee, and it was just the stupidest thing ever, but I was really, like, unwell at the time, and that, like, just ruined everything. Like, I dropped the coffee, and I immediately went back to my apartment and cried, and it wasn't because of the coffee, and it wasn't because of, like, I failed by, it was just, like, I was in such a raw place, and a lot of us that deal with mental health issues often are. And something that CBT taught me, which is, like, so stupid and basic and obvious, but, like, but I guess like how neurotypical people think, is, like, oh, like I dropped the coffee, this isn't the end of the world. I can keep going. I can even buy another coffee. But that's not what like my brain would do, which is really dumb. But CBT, like I remember like one day like dropping my coffee again, and I immediately was like, oh, that sucks, well, whatever. You know, and I remember thinking like, oh my God, like I've had a complete, well, there was a lot of things involved in that change, right? But I was able to like reason with myself logically, and CBT helps you do that. And so I really love CBT, and so something that, and I would encourage you all to get into it if you can. I know therapy is very inaccessible to a lot of people, but if you can, I would 100%, you know, look into it. There's like something I discovered recently. So there's a medical clinic near me, and they take insurance, but they also serve the like underserved communities, and they offer behavioral health things. So obviously this isn't available in a lot of places, but I would, you know, if you can't afford it, or if you're struggling with wait times or something like that, I don't know. I just ask, beg your, next time you see someone who's in the medical field, and ask them for resources, because sometimes they'll have them. As I mentioned, before my dad died, I was like this rock, and with no feelings. And I think that lasted up until, I don't know, when I got back, I guess, to DC. And that's also because I had a lot of shit to do with my dad's estate and with the business in the months after my dad died. But now that I'm back and I got off my medication and a lot of different things have happened, I'm like struggling because I thought like finally I was gonna have some peace. You know, I was like, I'm gonna have some peace now. You know, my dad died. That is terrible, but I can have some peace. I don't need to be with my family. I don't need to take care of everyone anymore. Like I can focus on myself finally. And so I was like really enjoying myself. You know, I was making friends and dating and like doing all the little things I wanted to do. I moved to an incredible part in a city I love. And then I found out that my mom has cancer. Like, and I was just like, man, I really can't catch a break. And I remember when I found out, I was so sad, I guess, and I could not stop crying for the first time. I think that's when the floodgates have opened, because I've been crying ever since. Because I realized, and it wasn't even for my mom. I mean, of course there's some of it for my mom, but a lot of it was for me. A lot of it was just grieving the fact that I had built this little thing that I was enjoying, and now it was going to be gone, because I, again, have to survive, right? And I have to make sure my mom survives, and I have to make sure my little sister who's sick is okay, and I have to do all these things. And like a lot of people are like, no, you don't have to do those things. No, I have to, or else I will die, like from the guilt as an alcoholic. Like I will relapse, and so I have to do these things. I have to find a way to do them in a way that's sustainable for me, but it's also something that I have to do. Like I remember, like people are always like, create boundaries, and I do create boundaries. You know, like I in the past I would have like moved back home immediately to be with my mom, and I said no. You know, like I need my space, I need to be here, and there's a lot of guilt with that, but also like I'm also not gonna just step away and not stop taking care of my family. That's just not gonna happen. It's not in me, right? And so I remember like crying that day, all day, just like grieving the fact that it was never, like, things are never gonna be okay. And that's, I know that's really dramatic to say, but I don't know, like hopefully things change, but that's how it's been for my whole life, I think, actually. And I've had periods of like wonderful peace, right? And that's okay, but because it's life, right? And a lot of people go through really horrible things. But like, if I can't just like lose my shit and be really sad, because if my emotions overcome me, I'll relapse and I'll drink. And then I might drive drunk, and then I might kill myself, kill someone else, and then I might lose my job, I might not be able to take care of my dog, I might push people away, I might end up in really scary situations like I used to, and so I can't let my emotions overcome me. And so when I found out my mom was sick, whoo, floodgates. And I was like, I have to be on again. Let me find some new tools. And so I went to Boston, and I actually had a horrible week emotionally that week. Like, my energy levels were good, and I was doing a lot with my family. It was good to be with them. But my emotional levels, I was crying the whole week. And I think it was a mix of things. I think it was, first of all, I was with my family again, and my family can be very triggering for me, or certain aspects of them. And I would literally, every night I'd go on like a 2-hour walk with Humpty with my headphones on, and I would just be crying. And it was perfect time to do at night because no one could see. And I would just, because there was just, how else? You know, I was just feeling so sorry for myself, which is so dramatic, but just like kind of being like, I need to survive. I need to do it again. I need to do it again. And I started learning about something called Stoicism, which is a school of philosophy. I don't know how I ended up on it, but it really resonated with me. I don't agree with all the tenets, so I wouldn't call myself like a Stoic, but maybe that'll change. Maybe I'll agree with them more. But so basic Stoicism is a philosophy that focuses on teaching us how to excel in life and how to become better human beings and how to live a good life. And that's really all I want, and that's, I think, how a lot of us want. We want to live a good life. We want to be better human beings. We want to excel even. I'm not even asking to excel. I'm asking for a decent life, I guess. One of the people that really formed Stoicism, Epictetus, I'm gonna call him Epicteti. No, I'm just kidding, I'm not. I'm sorry. Said the central theme of this whole philosophy was that we must distinguish very carefully between what is up to us or within our power and what is not. And so that's something that I've worked on doing for years and constantly trying to drill it into my head, because, and it's very interesting because a lot of these books on Stoicism actually mention recovery 12-step programs. They always say, and here's their adage, I forget what it is, the serenity prayer. I'm gonna put it here, but it's something that I say like a couple times a week when I'm in a room with a bunch of people who also have a problem with alcohol, and we hold hands and do the thing. And it's something that really changed my life, that saying. And it's funny because apparently it's very closely tied to CBT and Stoicism, which I am newly into. So something I'm going to read something else from it. It makes us completely and utterly responsible for the single most important thing in life, depriving us of any excuses for not flourishing and attaining the best possible life, because that is always within our grasp. And what that's talking about is being able to control your own emotions and your own reaction to things, and that's how you can be happy. So that's kind of what it is. If I'm like wrong or anything, that's my understanding. I'm kind of stupid though. Comment down below and let me know. But okay, basically what I'm trying to say in all of this is that I have had to, and I have to, and I continue to have to, and a lot of us continue to have to, prepare for what is coming, right? And that's kind of how I survived my dad's illness, right? I prepared for what was coming, which was death, and I knew it was death. I did not have much hope. The statistics did not give me much hope, and so I did not have it. I wanted to spend the rest of the time that I had with him, and I also prepared myself mentally. And so maybe it'll hit later. I've been saying this for months, but I have managed his death quite well by preparing myself for grief by doing it, you know, by doing things that will lessen grief, you know. And so I'm always preparing. I'm kind of struggling because I really want to get deeper into this, but this is already a really long video. But I guess I'll talk about some of the practical things that I do and I have been trying to do lately in order to survive. And I've mentioned these things in the past, you know, but they're just some really basic things that make me feel better and make me feel like I can make it through that day. This is where I kind of try to use Stoicism as a tool, because it is about self-mastery and really knowing yourself and knowing what you need and knowing who you are, and also perseverance and wisdom, and using those things in order to keep it going, right? And so practically for me, that means going to therapy, first of all, going to AA meetings, talking about my feelings, because that helps me to better understand myself and to process what I'm going through. So if you have, you know, access to any of those things, I 100% would, you know, or create a YouTube channel and just talk to no one for a while and talk about your feelings. I don't know, get it out somewhere, journaling, whatever. I can't journal, my focus will not do it, you know. perseverance. Like I just have to keep going. You know, there is no option. But within the perseverance, I can do things that make me feel better. And so those are some of the things that I want to talk about here. And I guess some of the things that I like to do, again, I mentioned this, yoga. I hated when people, like even a few years ago, like 2 years ago, people were like, go exercise. And I was like, shut up. I'm already so fatigued. Leave me alone. But I found that core power yoga is really helpful because it makes me sweat and like work out or whatever. But also the meditation aspect has helped so much. And meditation has been something that's really been so helpful to me. I'm gonna show someone here. Her name is Marissa Peer, and she's kind of the person that really got me into meditation. She's British. She has a fun little voice. And meditation and being able to sit with yourself in silence and accept who you are and be okay with like the really ugly parts, which I have quite a few of, and do that, that's been really, really helpful. So in core power, being able to move my body and release some of the tension that lives in my body, because a lot of our stress lives in our body, our trauma lives in our body, and it manifests physically. A good book to read on that is The Body Keeps the Score. I know some parts can be triggering for people. There are references to lots of things that are triggering. So actually, yeah, so look it up before you read it, but it's a book that really changed my perspective on the body-mind connection, which sounds like BS, but it's real. But it really helps because I'm moving my body while also like doing deep breathing exercises, kind of meditating, you know, and doing yoga and sitting with my body in silence for an hour. And sometimes I like want to scratch my eyes out while I'm in there because like I like to do what I want, and I'm in there following people telling me what to do. Anyway, so core power yoga 1. Another thing is routine, just the simple things in the morning, you know, just the little shit, you know, waking up and hugging my dog. And I'm not a very tactile person, but like my dog loves cuddles, and so I'm gonna cuddle him, and that makes me feel so much better, you know. Again, having a routine. I mentioned in my last video I have a uniform that I wear. The little ism is coming out right there, but I like to wear the same thing almost every day, and putting on my little outfit, and I know it looks good, it looks cute, and I look fine. I put my little concealer on, I go in the bathroom, I do my little thing, I brush my teeth, and I take my little magic mind, you know, sometimes I eat breakfast, sometimes I don't, and I take my little dog on a walk every day. And that is a part of my routine that is really important to me now, and it's something that helps bring me some structure to my life. Another thing has been meeting people and meeting with people who I care about, you know, and in the past I feel like I didn't have the energy for that, and I also struggle like socially sometimes because for a number of reasons. Like I feel like my biggest anxiety, I don't have a lot of anxiety nowadays, is social anxiety. Like I threw myself a birthday party, so I almost canceled because it was after Boston and I was already feeling so raw and horrible, and just like I was like, I'm gonna cancel this party. Well, I was planning to keep going partying, and then Jake told me he couldn't come, and that was actually really hard for me. But yeah, not because I like him or anything anymore, I don't, but because he's been there with me socially for everything for the last 4 years. And I wasn't gonna cancel before he told me he wasn't gonna be able to come, and he wasn't gonna be able to come for a good reason, which is to kind of let me do it by myself. You know, he cares about me and he wants me to be fine and stuff, and so good reason. But again, like that was kind of tough to hear, but also I know it's necessary, I guess. And yeah, I was just like, oh my god, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna cancel this party because I'm horrified. No one's gonna show up, it's gonna go horrible, and I don't want to deal with that. And that wasn't the case. Too many people showed up actually in my little apartment, and I actually had an amazing time. And Jake did end up showing up for a little bit, so it was good to see him. But again, like it went way better than I thought, and of course that's like my brain telling me horrible things, but it's that are not the case and are not reality. And sometimes we just need to push ourselves to do the things that we're afraid to do, and it's hard to do sometimes. But the reason I did it actually was because I invited my best friend. I was like, what can I do? What can I control in this situation? Because I can't control the decision, I can't control much of anything else, but I guess I can ask my best friend to come fly out. And so I flew my best friend out, Kat. She broke my closet door, so I'm not inviting her again. But I invited her out, and the party was good, and it was really nice having her there because, again, I was so emotionally in a bad place, like throughout Boston, and then throughout the following days, that she kind of like allowed me to go out and do stuff and like do some basic girl shit, and like that always makes me feel better, right? And after she left, I still continued to feel good. That was something that was helpful. So like looking at what I can control, which again goes back to Stoicism, which again goes back to CBT, and doing the things so I could control. The thing I could control is inviting my best friend, and she came, and it really helped, right? The other thing that really helps is moving outside of myself and doing good things, right, for other people. And that's just something that I always need to do. It's just always been in me, or else I will end up, I don't know. But something about AA, which is really good, or 12-step recovery programs, is they focus on service and like doing things for other people and helping other people. And so I literally moved to be close to a club that hosts these kinds of meetings. I moved to be close to it. And so I'm like a 15-minute walk away, and I love everyone in that club so much. And I love the manager, and so over the holidays, I tried to do volunteer service there. So I did the 4th of July, I did the one in May, and a position just opened up for every day for me to go and volunteer. And again, it's like, I'm not doing anything crazy. I'm just sitting there selling drinks, selling books, selling literature, helping people. Sometimes I'll clean the bathroom, sometimes I'll vacuum, things like that, just to like help this nonprofit organization that helps so many other people survive, I guess, and run smoothly and efficiently. And doing that and having that in my schedule, I guess, in my routine, is so helpful to me. So I don't know, like something that's really helped me is helping other people. And so when moving outside of yourself and your pain and your exhaustion and your fatigue, and again, a lot of these things require energy, and doing that, and a lot of us don't have that yet. Like I definitely have gained a lot of that, but I know a lot of people viewing this are still really struggling with that. And so there's things that you can do at home. I don't know, yoga at your house, you know, reading about audiobooks about CBT and Stoicism and mental wellness, and just like things like that, watching these YouTube videos, right? But also volunteering. You can volunteer online. I'm sure that there's ways to do that. You could volunteer in person like I do, and again, that's something that really helps me to survive and to feel okay with myself and to do that. And so I am really struggling, and I feel like some days are super bad and some days are good. Today I feel good, and it's because I got up and I was like, I'm gonna record, I'm gonna do these things, I have to work, and to do something with my day, even if it's I just stay in my apartment all day, to do something with my day, so I'm just not just like suffering, right? That's really helpful, you know, doing those things. So again, for me, it's volunteering, stepping out of my comfort zone and doing things that I'm afraid of, right? But also like doing things that make it easier for me, that are within my control. The thing keeps overheating. But yeah, so those are some of the things that I'm practicing, and it's been really helpful. And so, you know, I like to include ideas of what you can do to hopefully make things a little bit better for you. And again, I try to make them accessible to most people, because not everyone has as much energy as me, and I don't have as much energy as a lot of other people, and we don't always have all the energy, you know. But you can do things from home, you can do things from bed, you can do things from wherever, or you can do things in person. And so yeah, and something I'm also trying to do is constantly, this goes back to CBT and I guess Stoicism, is like training my perceptions. And this sounds kind of ridiculous, but this quote by Marcus Aurelius: choose not to be harmed and you won't feel harmed. Don't feel harmed and you haven't been. And this is something really difficult to learn how to do, but I've learned how to do it in a lot of aspects of my life, right? Like for example, my father's death. And it took a long time for me to practice this, and I also became a totally different person in the process. But I worked to choose to not be harmed by his death, and that took a lot of mental gymnastics. That took a lot of reminding myself that everything in this life is temporary and fleeting, and to think about things with gratitude instead. So what I, like everything that, like the day of my dad's death, for example, he died, and what I thought about instead was the fact that most of his family was there holding his hand with him as he passed. He's religious, and so we were singing some of his favorite hymns to him. We had his sisters on the phone talking to him as he passed, and that was so special, and I'm just so grateful for how special that was, and that allowed me to not feel harmed by his death, in addition to all the other work that I did. And I'm sure that will not always feel that way, but most of the time I feel so grateful for the time that I did have, because it's more than some people have, and so yeah, I try to turn every bad into a new source of good, I guess, though it's painful that I, will have to continue. I can't just keep my little life, and my mom got sick, and there's lots of other fun things happening in my life. Like, this is bad, but I can think of it in a way that's like, this is a chance for me to show fortitude, to show strength, to develop those characteristics so that I can come out stronger. Another thing that I want to read, this is from Seneca, another Stoic writer. So what is quite unlooked for is more crushing in its effect. The unexpectedness adds to the weight of a disaster. This is a reason for ensuring that nothing ever takes us by surprise. We should project our thoughts ahead of us at every turn and have in mind every possible eventuality instead of only the usual course of events. Rehearse them in your mind. Exile, torture, war, shipwreck, all the terms of our human lot should be before our eyes. And this is something, again, that I've learned to do. I did not go into my dad's very low statistic of survival being like, oh, it's gonna be fine. No, I looked at the statistics and I thought about every possible thing. And so each month that he survived felt so good. It was just another month beyond my expectation, right? And thinking of it that way helped, because I had already thought about all the bad stuff, all the possible things that could happen, the good, the bad. He would survive forever, but like most likely he wasn't. And so I was grateful for every little extra time that I had. And another example of this is like if you're planning to take a trip, thinking about, again, this might not be good for people with anxiety, but for me it helps, like thinking about all the bad things that can happen on this trip. My immediate one was death. But for example, like I went on a trip with my dad and he easily could have died. I got travel insurance to make sure that his little coffin and I would go right back home easily, so I prepared for every little thing by looking ahead, and that made me feel so much more comfortable in doing this trip. But if you're a normal person, you're going on a trip, it's good to think about all the things that could happen. This is really dramatic Seneca, which is shipwreck, attacked by pirates, captain could fall ill. So thankfully we don't face those things anymore, kind of, I guess. No, we do face those things, just in a different context. Terrorist, captain having a heart attack, a lot of things. Storm, lightning, plane, sorry. Again, I think about all those things when I get on a plane, so I don't fear getting on a plane, because I've already been like, whatever. But yeah, so like for when you're planning a trip, like maybe my hotel won't have processed my room, and so I won't have a room. And so I think about that fear, and then I think, well, what would I do? Well, I would simply just get a new room, right? That's the logical thing to do. Or, oh my God, my bag is lost. Okay, what's the thing you're supposed to do? You're supposed to contact the airline to give you some money, and then you just wear the clothes on your back. And if, God forbid, something happens, you just keep wearing the clothes on your back. Like, there's always an answer for everything, and that's kind of what I've taught myself. So something that has helped is I'm always prepared for disruption. I actually let myself be unprepared for my mom's sickness for a second there, so it was shocking. And that's why it was shocking. I was unprepared. I did not remind myself that shit happens, and that's something I need to always remind myself. And here's another example. Like, so after my dad died, I did not cry. I was like trying. I was like, I didn't need to. And I did cry heavily when my little dog got ulcers in his eyes, and then the doctor told me that he is gonna lose his eyesight, potentially. And so that was really funny to me. I called Jake and I was weeping, and he helped me do some CBT exercises there, you know, just like he looked at the stats, and he was like, statistically, this is gonna be good, you're a good dog mom, you're gonna give him his medicine, and you're gonna do everything you can to make sure that doesn't happen. And if that does happen, you're gonna be the best dog mom to a blind little dog. And that made me feel a lot better, but it was interesting because I had not prepared for this possible horrible thing to happen. I did not think my little dog was gonna possibly go blind at age 4, and so it hit so hard compared to my dad dying, which is crazy. But again, it comes back to preparing myself, preparing yourself for the worst, which again sounds super exhausting and dumb and stupid and like tiring, and it is tiring to do that all the time. It is tiring to feel like a pessimist all the time, to think about the bad stuff, but you can also think about the good. The good I like to think about is my dog's gonna live forever. Maybe they'll develop some kind of shot that, you know, that's a possibility that will make him live forever, you know? So dwell on the good, dwell on the bad, be realistic, come up with a plan for everything. And again, that's tiring. I'll go into more, I want to keep this video more positive and helpful because, bro, I can go dark. But I don't want to do that because that's been happening lately, and I also need to talk more positively to myself as well. So I don't know, this is interesting. I'm still learning about it, and I'm still trying to reconcile the thought of thinking about all these horrible things constantly to prepare yourself for the worst. But it's something that I need to do, and I have done for a long time, and I will continue to do because I need to. And maybe you don't, but yeah, let me know if any of this related to you, or if it was just like so far out. I feel so lonely in my feelings sometimes and what's happening, but I know like I'm not special, and horrible things happen to all kinds of people, and I'm not the only one dealing with stuff, right? So yeah, I don't know, let me know in the comments if you experienced any of this, or if any of this helped you, because maybe I'll be like, oh, I'm not so lonely and all this, which I like. Here's another thing that I like to do, just very quickly before I close out on this, which is like, so I do it all the time in my YouTube videos. I'm constantly calling myself dumb and stupid and all these things, and people are always like, you're not dumb and stupid, like, and it's so kind of you guys. But I know I'm not dumb and stupid, but I have already, people on the internet are mean, y'all. People on the internet are mean, so I'm always like, people are gonna comment some dumb shit, you know, people are gonna be mean. And just to let you know, if you're gonna do that, that it doesn't affect me at all, because I've already thought about it, and I've already called myself dumb and stupid, and so I literally do not care. But yeah, that's another example of me thinking ahead, calling myself dumb and stupid, because I mean, I'm a little dumb and stupid, but also I'm self-aware. It's not like I'm running in here being like, I'm the expert. No, I'm not. And yeah, that's an example of me preparing, knowing what's possible because it's the internet, and doing it first, because that takes the power away of a lot of things. And again, that goes back to everything. Doing it first, dealing with the thing that's gonna happen, being prepared so it doesn't affect you. Anyway, let me know if any of that was interesting at all, or if I should just stop yapping. I'm gonna watch Love Island and work. Love Island USA is lit, so make sure to watch it if you like reality TV. Goodbye.